Hi everybody, this is Angelique coming to you live from the Shoe Chick Art Studio in fabulous downtown Las Vegas. Woo woo! Okay, this might be probably one of the shortest tutorials that I've done because this one was pretty traced out, pretty darn good for you. But first of all, again, my name is Angelique. I have a studio in downtown Las Vegas called the Shoe Chick Art Studio because when you paint with me, kids in Africa get shoes. If you want to know more about me and my story, visit my website at the Shoe Chick Art Studio, no, the ShoeChickStore.com. I'm going to go over what's in your kit. I'm going to take you about, probably about halfway through this particular painting, maybe not even halfway. And then that's my objective. And then I leave and you guys have fun and paint together. So let's go over what's in your kit really quick. In your kit, you have all your paints, you have your paint trays, so take all the lids and tape and all that stuff off your paints. Your cup, I need you to fill that halfway with water. And then you have an assortment of paint brushes, these three right here. And a highly absorbent blue paper towel. You have some, like a little flyer in there with all the pictures that I have available with my phone number at the top. So text me your finished paintings or post them. I want to see them. That brings everything full circle for me. And you have a plastic apron. We're painting with acrylic paints today like we always do. Acrylic paints wash very easily off your hands, not so easily off of your clothes. So you want to make sure you protect your clothing. Your kit came in a plastic bag. You can use that plastic bag to protect the surface that you're painting on, okay? You might have a kit with one of those fun little easel backings. You're going to push the sides up, the flap down, so that your canvas should stand on your table quite easily, okay? So let's get into it. Okay, can I just tell you how much fun it was to paint this? I'm calling it CardiAndMegan, okay? I'm not using the title of the album at all. I caught a lot of heat on this one. Caught some folks off guard with this painting. It's art. All right, like let's settle down a little bit. It's art. I thought it was a beautiful video, and I thought it was a beautiful, like the cinematography in there was just great, and the colors. This is just fun. It was fun to paint. So let's just leave it at that. If you want to know my personal opinion about CardiAndMegan, they doing their damn thing. Okay, they doing their thing. That's what they do. If you pick up a porn video and you see porn and you're offended, shame on you. You shouldn't have picked it up. You picked up CardiAndMegan's album, you watched the video, hey, they nailed it. For what they do, they nailed it, okay? So yeah, I am a rap fan. Not a big CardiAndMegan fan. I respect the game, I respect the hustle, I respect the art. You know, they spit some hard truths in their songs, and people don't like that. But anyway, let's move right along. Okay, so this was cost a little bit more than the other ones because it's a hard trace. Like I traced this for you because I wanted you to get this right. Because there's some personalities in their faces, right? If you don't get Cardi's tongue just right, ain't gonna look like Cardi, okay? So you gotta. It was important to me that you caught the essence of the woman. So that's why I did it like this. And I thought this would be fun to paint with your girlfriends, have some Megan and Cardi bumping. I can't do this in my video, because, you know, they tag my stuff and pull it down on YouTube. I got a little music, but no CardiAndMegan, because that they would pick up real quick. So that's why I thought it'd be cool just to take you a little bit through the painting, because y'all don't need me. Y'all need to get your music, get your drink, turn up the CardiAndMegan, and have a good time. So I'm going to give you the lay of the land, tell you how to start it, because pretty much it's kind of like a paint by numbers thing. But there's a few critical points, because I want your paintings to look good, of course. We're going to take the sponge brush, that's the first thing that we're going to do. And we're going to put a light coat of water, and I have my reference painting, that's the finished painting that you saw already, at the bottom to hold it up, but I don't want to mess it up. I hope you have your reference photo. You know, usually I say do your own thing. But this one, I'm not going to tell you to do your own thing because we want it to pretty much look like CardiAndMegan, right? So excuse me while I get my stuff together and dropping stuff down here. All right, so usually I put the painting at the bottom, but I don't want to mess that one up. So okay, so I got my sponge brush. I dumped it in the water. I'm shaking it a little bit because I got a little bit too much water. And I want you to put a light coat of water on the canvas. Don't worry about washing away these trace lines. These trace lines are actually markers. So this trace line right here, it ain't going nowhere. I don't even think you can smudge it. I'm kind of pressing kind of hard. So I've never done this before, trace with the marker. And yeah, it's not even, it's not smudging, so that's a good thing. Light coat of water. Now, that light coat of water, I don't want it to be too drippy, but I do need to get it on there. These canvases have been super brittle these days, so it's sucking up the first layer of paint like really fast. So I'm going to dab this off a little bit. Now, what I want to do first, of course, like we always do, is paint the background. So I'm going to take my sponge brush. I'm going to squeeze the water out of it. I'm actually going to squeeze it a little bit with a paper towel. And I'm going to outline their hair and their bodies. And I am going to fill in the background. Fuchsia, I love this color. You can actually go over her eye and stuff because it is marker. It's going to come through pretty good. If you're really concerned about getting close to their face, we're going to fill that in later. So it's kind of hard to get. You can use the tip of the brush and you can get pretty close in there. And then we're going to fill it in with the other smaller brush later, okay? So I'm outlining, excuse me, you might want to watch the video first before you start painting. I'm starting to recommend that because sometimes I go a little fast and people get kind of frustrated. You can always put me on pause, right? So I'm getting as close to it as I can with this brush. And then I'm going to take this sponge brush and I'm going to fill it in as much as I can. I'm going to play a little music. They might mute me out. I'm not playing Cardi, I'm playing the other song that, you know, the beat that they use. I'm just going to play a little low with that. Okay, maybe this will take me. Okay. Painting in the background. Pay attention to her eye because you don't want to totally wipe that, cover up her eyelash. I am painting the sides. So these are just the critical points that I'm going to take you through from this painting, and then I'm going to leave you alone. I'm going to go away so you can turn your music up and have a good time while you're painting this, okay? So painting the background, fuchsia. I love this color. I love the colors in the video. I love Cardi's dress and they had about like 5 wardrobe changes in the whole thing, I think. But yeah, this painting really caught some folks off guard. They're inboxing me, why you painting that? And blah blah blah. It's art, shoot, settle down. It's kind of cool too. I like how their hair is. Their hair alone was an art form. I'm pressing a little bit hard, smoothing out. Getting good coverage in the background. That's why we use the sponge brush for coverage. If you're going to paint with me, I recommend, if you're going to paint with me a lot, investing in some paint brushes. I'm being careful around your eye. Okay, so I already got the background filled in pretty good. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my medium-sized flat brush, and I am going to get closer in. I kind of did this backwards. You could do this part first and then paint it out, the background, yeah. But I'm getting really close. I don't want any white gaps between the outline. But the thing that's tricky this time, usually we go right on top of the trace lines, but now I'm not going right on top of the trace line this time. I'm getting as close as I can because I kind of want that hard black line that I usually don't want. I kind of want it this time. So, getting really, really close with this brush. So there's no white space in between the trace lines and the fuchsia colored paint. You might like that effect, that gap. I don't like it. You might even want to put another coat of fuchsia in the background when it dries, so it's totally opaque. Meaning no white canvas, no light coming through there. You can do that. I'm getting really close. Okay, now, another key point. I am going to rest this brush in the water. Now, I'm going to take my sponge brush and I'm going to squish it around in my water. And I'm going to squeeze it out. It's going to get a little messy, but you know, sometimes we get dirty. If you have a bigger brush, you don't have to do this. I'm squeezing that fuchsia paint out. I'm squishing it around. My hands are getting really yucky. I'm okay with that. Wiping it off, wiping my hands off, and the brush and the blue paper towel. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do her hair next. Oh, you know what I forgot? I'm sorry. I got to go back with this brush and get this middle section here. Right here. With that small brush. I just came right out of the water and wiped it off with a paper towel real quick. We got to get that space in here. That's fuchsia. That's what I like about my lives. You never know what's going to happen. I could fall off the stool. Just kidding. Make mistakes. So we got to get that section in here done. Almost forgot it. There are no mistakes in art. We just would have went back. I'm going to rest it in my water. You can put me on pause if you haven't caught up. I realized I did that pretty fast. So I cleaned up my brush because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do their hair. And I don't want to do it with that small brush. That would take me forever. So I'm going right in the middle here for coverage. And I am using the tip of my paintbrush, coming to the edge. I got a little pink on there. Be careful. You don't want to get any pink in there. And I'm filling it in. Just like that. Coming close to the edge as I can. And then I'm going to take that other paintbrush and I'm really, really fill in the detail of where the black goes, okay? Now I'm not going to rest the sponge brush in my water. I'm going to put it on the tray because I don't want all this black paint. And I'm pretty much done with it. Getting real close down into the hair, but this brush is too big to do all the detail work. But great for coverage, okay? So I'm pretty much done with this brush. I'm going to rest this brush in my tray, not in my water. I'm going to take that medium flat brush, rinse it out, go into my black paint, and I'm going to finish up. And if there's some white gaps, you can extend and make it bigger because you don't want any white gaps in there. Be careful if your pink paint's still wet. A lot of times we use a dryer. If you have a hair dryer and you want to paint this fast, you don't want to wait for it to dry. You can use a hair dryer, you can use your tray, mixing tray, and fan it. So I noticed I got a few drippies going on in here for some reason. I don't think I used that much pink paint, but I can go over it later. Because the acrylic paints dry very fast. And then you can apply another layer. So I'm filling the gaps here. Play a little music while I'm doing that. I kind of like the beat in this song too because I'm from Michigan and house music is big. This song used to be jamming on this song in somebody's basement, somebody's house music party, or on U of M's campus back in those days. I think that's where I was partying at back then. I didn't go to U of M. I actually went to Eastern Michigan University, not too far from U of M. In Ypsilanti, Michigan. Shout out to all my Michigan people. Taking my small brush, working out, painting out the hair. Make sure you get those bumps just right. This is the one time where you are going right on top of the trace lines. So see how it's like a paint by numbers kind of thing? And like I said, usually I'm like, put your own personality in it. Do what you want to do. Be creative. This one, pretty much got to stick to the guidelines here. If you want it to look like CardiAndMegan. Which is kind of cool, I think. But it took a long time to trace each one of these canvases. Be very careful when you're painting through here. Take a look at your reference photo if you're confused. So, pretty much, I want to show you how to get their skin tone just right. Because you're going to have to do a little mixing on that. Don't want to forget her little swirl right there. Okay? Just that, like, looks cool, right? Kind of comes all together. I got a little pink going on there I want to cover up. You might want to put another coat there when it dries. Don't try to do too much paint at one time because it won't look good, okay? So you need to wait for it to dry to do it again. So there's little white spots right there. I fill that in later when it dries. Alright, so now this is where it comes more of like a paint by numbers kind of thing. Like you don't need me. Look at your reference photo and do the colors as you see on your reference photo. But what I did want to do is show you how to do their skin tone. Okay? And how to lighten up the different colors. So this sponge brush I'm pretty much done with, okay? So I am squishing my medium flat brush around in the water and I'm wiping it off really good. And I am lifting a little bit, I'm going to do Cardi first. I'm lifting a little bit of white paint out of my cup here. And I'm putting it on my tray. You can't really see it because it's white on white. Right there in the corner there. And then I'm going to put a little bit of brown paint on my tray. You can use the back of your paintbrush and kind of scoop it a little bit out of it, a little bit out onto your tray. That's what I'm doing here. You'll be able to see it better because it's brown. See? Now I want to mix Cardi's skin color. So I'm just going to take a tiny bit of brown. It doesn't take that much. Into my white paint. And I'm mixing it around with the tip of my white brush. And look, I got Cardi's color. The white's creating glare on there. Okay? So it's just a super light brown color. Okay? I got way too much paint on my paintbrush. I'm squishing it off in my water, wiping it off so I can paint Cardi in. Now, it's a very small amount of paint for the skin color, okay? And if you want it to be a little darker, because I want mine to be just a tad bit darker, I'm going to add a little bit more brown. Now, I'm mixing her skin color. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that in your kit. So look at the colors that you have. If you have a light brown, you don't have to mix this, okay? So I haven't decided yet. You might have to mix it, and you might not, okay? So I am painting in Cardi's color. And when I get over facial features, it's really hard. Try not to cover up your trace lines. Try to get really close to them to fill in her face. Okay? Play a little music while I'm doing that. So just fill in her skin color, then we're going to move on to Megan.
There's some hoes in this house, there's some hoes in this house, there's some hoes in this house.
I want them to take my video down. So I'm doing it low in the background. Painting her in. light. Let me try to turn my light away so you can see a little bit better. Man, this is a fun girls' night out. Hope y'all having fun. Hope you got your friends together. Got your music bumping. So you really still can't see it. I'm going to try to turn the light off a little bit so you can see how I'm moving. So it's just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of brown in that white paint. I like to have y'all mix paints a little bit, so I probably won't be putting the light brown in there. I'll probably just have you guys mix it. And in the middle of her earrings too, remember? That's her skin color too, and her ear. So you're gonna have to really look at your reference photo. Okay, so let me see if I turn my lights all the way around. You can kind of see her color a little bit there. Okay? Now, when you move on to Megan, you can do a straight brown just like it is, or you can add a little bit of white in it if you want to. What I did, I'm using it with just a little bit of water on my brush. Because I don't want it to be real dark, so I just put a little tiny, tiny bit of water on my brush and a tiny, tiny bit of paint. And I'm really just dragging it through the painting. If you want it to be a little darker, make it a little bit darker, okay? So like I just put a bunch of, it's really, really dark. Get an outliner and fill it in. I'm just dragging the paint out. It almost looks like watercolors because I have it so thin. Try not to go over my trace lines, but if I do, it's okay. Because you can go over it later. I know your water is pink, but you can still put a little bit of water on your paintbrush. And I'm just dragging the paint out. Not putting a lot of brown on my paintbrush. I'm going over the trace lines because the paint is so thin. A little bit of water on your paintbrush. Just dragging the water. Even though your water's pink, it's okay. Just a little tiny, tiny bit. You won't even be able to tell that the water's pink, really. Okay? So, I'm just putting in the brown, filling out her skin here. I'm really just dragging that brown. So I don't want it to be super dark. A little bit of water on my paintbrush. When it dries, I'm going to put another coat on it, if you're wondering why I'm doing it this way. It's so I can get really close around the trace lines and still see them. That's why I want to do it so light. I'm going back into my brown paint, just a little tiny bit of paint. I don't want it really, really heavy, and I'm dragging it with a little bit of water, okay? Alright? So let me turn my brush, my light on a little bit, so it looks a little bit, yeah, so now you can kind of see it. So we still have more area to cover on the back side here. Can trace it. And fill it in. If you have a big brush, that would really be cool. It's just a little tiny bit of water, a little tiny bit of paint, little bit of water, you know. I'm extending that paint as far as I can. And then if you want to make her darker and smooth out her skin tone a little bit, that's when you're going to apply a second layer of paint. Kind of look and see what it looks like. So it almost looks like we're painting with watercolors. Because I just have such a thin layer of paint on here. If you want it darker, you're going to apply a second coat. If you like her just like that, leave her just like that. This is how I started the painting, and then I applied a second coat. So if you're looking at your reference photo, this is how I did it. Alright? So now, oh, I still have that part inside of her ear there, inside of her earring, and her ear, and this little part in her here. All of her beautiful brown skin. So once we get that down, we got her hair, we got the background, we got the hair, we got her skin color down. After you do these elements, then what I want you to do is just have fun and paint her in. Paint all the things in. So you want to make sure that whatever color you're using, that you do it all around the painting. Like pink. For Cardi's, for both their tones and Cardi's dress, it's a lighter version of this, so of the fuchsia paint. So again, we're going to lift a little bit of white, and I'm using the back of my brush, and I'm going to put it in my tray, my mixing tray. See how I did that? I'm going to wipe it off on my mixing tray. I'm going to put a little tiny bit of pink in there, and I'm mixing it with the back of my brush there, if you can see that. And I made a pink, and with that pink, I'm going to paint her tongue. But you want to make sure that you use it everywhere while you have it on your brush. So there's her tongue here, Megan's tongue, Cardi's tongue, and then you want to also paint Cardi's dress pink. My light is so bright, it's not really showing, but I think you get the picture. So then the next color you're going to do is you're going to go into yellow, swish your brush around the water, wipe it off, go into yellow. You're going to do the earrings. And like I said, it becomes like paint by numbers. Just look at that reference photo and paint it in. Do the earrings. And then I have yellow on my brush, right? So I'm going to do Megan's dress. Now, you have red for their lips. You're going to do that. Finish up their red on their lips. Now what I want you to do is I want you to go around the whole painting and touch it up. If you want another coat of fuchsia on the back, if you want to even out her skin tone a little bit, you're going to do another coat on her, another coat on her. You need to tighten up the painting a little bit, okay? So put another coat so that it's nice and even, okay? So you're going to work your way around this painting again, tightening up all those areas, making their skin tone plain, and you have a very little tiny detail brush. You want your painting to dry, okay? So anywhere, so you're going to fan it, use a blow dryer, anywhere that you cannot see the black in their faces because you painted over it. You're going to take that little detail brush and you're going to work out each little area, especially their eyes and their eyebrow. Wherever there's black, and you're going to use that detail brush to really bring out the features in their face, wherever there's black. Now, you can cheat and get like a magic marker and go around the whole thing, because you want all their features to really stand out, okay? Now, once the painting is completely dry, you're going to do all those white highlights. So you're going to take your medium flat brush again, go into your white paint, like her hair is dry now, and you're going to do some quick brush strokes here and there for her hair. And take a look at the reference photo where those brush strokes lie, because you do want to kind of show all the features in the hair, okay? So there is a little strategy, but remember this needs to be dry, okay, before you do this. All right? Doesn't that really bring it to life? And then along the sides there's a few random brush strokes. Now you gotta make sure this is dry before you add all these, okay? So just take a look at the reference photo and carefully place those lines, okay? I am going to sign off now. This painting takes a while, so I think I've been on live here for maybe 30 minutes. This painting should take you a couple hours, really. Take your time, have fun, turn your CardiAndMegan up, and enjoy the experience, okay?
There's some hoes in this
I
house.
hope you have
There's some
fun.
hoes in this
Send
house.
me your
There's some hoes in this house. 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 There's some hoes.